Well, the Ultimate Time Wizard event, specifically relating to Edison format, is still fresh in all of our minds, and allegedly, it's the internet, so take it with a grain of salt, but allegedly, a former Konami employee actually commented about it on another YouTuber's video, and that's absolutely shocking. So, yeah, we're going to make a video about this. Let's dive on into it, shall we? I don't care if it's a troll on the internet. This is insane if it's true. Ladies and gentlemen, the Edison format drama is still going on, so if you're new, be sure to smash the ever-living boo-boo stain off that like and subscribe button so we can climb even higher, the 1600 ladder. So there is a YouTuber named E3 Yu-Gi-Oh! Who posted a video talking about how basically he created an R-bet out of nothing, and it's also going to be in Indianapolis, like 10 minutes down the road from where Konami is hosting the North American Nationals this year, as like a big middle finger to Konami, which I think is hilarious. But this guy made this event with these judges like very last minute because, and this is something that just still boggles my mind, and I'm so glad that I didn't go to Nationals this year or anything because your boy's just been taking a much needed break from the game. When Konami posted in that document that, of course, they put all the way down like at the fucking bottom, hoping that no one would see it, they said, hey, you know, we're using the current card text and game mechanics, blah, 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 blah. Well, a lot of players, they couldn't get refunds on their flights or their hotels. And you already put in a PTO request, or pay time off for those of you who don't know. You probably can't unsubmit that with most jobs. And so now if you try to go back to your job's going to probably be like, well, you're an idiot because apparently you don't know when you want to take time off, so we're not going to give you that day off from now on. You know, there's so many terrible jobs in the United States that do that BS. I actually had to deal with something similar to that, but now I'm blackballed out of the industry I tried to get into. But besides the point, also, if I look much darker than usual, it's because one of my light bulbs went out in my lamp, or in my ceiling fan. But anyways, this person, E3 Yu-Gi-Oh! This video is blown up. It's got almost 10,000 views. It was posted almost a day ago. But basically, this was an announcement for the R-Bet that's going to be in Indianapolis. And R-Bets stand for Really Big Edison Tournaments, which I think is a really funny name. But I want to go through this comment that this person named the Team Aviator Brian made, where he's allegedly a Konami employee. So you're going to see that up on the screen. I'm going to read it to you, and then we'll discuss. So he says, as literally the guy who created the Ultimate Time Wizard during my tenure there, which is just insane to think that if this person's telling the truth, that's crazy that this person created that, or that event. Well, I should say that because it's dead now. This is heartbreaking to see, but unsurprising. I fought tooth and nail for every aspect of that event, was told several times that it was a waste of time, and was given zero support from any other member of the Konami team. There are several aspects I can see on why they made this decision, but can guarantee not a single one was made with the player's best interest in heart. I'm sorry you guys have to continue to deal with a company who just doesn't care about their player base. E3 Yu-Gi-Oh! Goes on to say that, you know, hey, really appreciate your time, whatever, blah, 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 blah. So he then goes on to say, appreciate the kind words. I honestly fought for this community as hard as humanly possible. I had to jump through several hoops and red tape, but I kept pushing, and ultimately the Ultimate Time Wizard was the result of my efforts. Its success and my realization of the company's stance on the community was a huge wedge between myself and higher-ups, and ultimately led to their decision to suspend me from organized play and me walking away from the company. I wish nothing but good things for the community, and am hopeful you are able to fill the void. So you can assume that from this comment, he was not only an employee for Konami, but also played like at locals, I guess. And then, of course, you see my comment here where I'm like, yo, that's crazy. Can we get an interview? And it's got 1 thumbs up on it. I'm going to go ahead and actually hit the thumbs up myself. What does this comment say? This person said, biggest reason Konami did it is they sold all the retro players packs with cards they wanted and no longer want to print them. So time to throw the players out in the trash, just like they do with modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Players. I didn't see this comment at first, but I'm reading it. You're going to see it in the screenshot. But yeah, I didn't see that until just now. And of course, you're going to see 2 thumbs up on my comment because I want to interview this person if this is all actually true. So again, this is the internet, right? I mean, this person could just be BSing. They could be blowing smoke up E3 Yu-Gi-Oh's bum, right? Like, this person could have not actually worked for Yu-Gi-Oh! At all, or for Konami at all. But when you think about what this person's saying, if it's to be believed, which we're just going to assume for the rest of this video, we're not going to play devil's advocate all day. Does it really surprise us that Konami, as my light comes back on, it's like as if it agrees with me. Do we really need to be surprised that Konami wouldn't want to do something that the community likes? Like anything that we as the community think's a good fucking idea, Konami's probably going to go in the opposite spectrum because they're like, oh, that ain't going to make us money, Sugar Boo Bear. Like, who asked for chibi arts of Skull Servant or Gearfried the Iron Knight? I don't think anybody did because no one really gives a shit. I mean, the Battles of Legend sets or whatever, right? Like, the main things in there is the Orca stuff and whatever. But besides all that, why would you, what seems to be fired an employee, and then basically just destroy the event that they apparently created, which was Ultimate Time Wizard? You know, I've seen things online about where people have said, even in like a group chat that I was in, where one of the things that one of the guys in there said was that, you know, they've milked the retro player base. They've reprinted so many retro things at this point. There's not much left to do. And then you have to get judges who know all the rulings, you know, to do those Ultimate Time Wizard events, which they're actually not even really technically doing one at Nationals. They're just doing the 8-player pods, which is just stupid. You know, it's not a main Ultimate Time Wizard event thing like we saw at YCS Houston or YCS Orlando. And so the fact that, to kind of wrap this all back into the main point of like why Konami did this, the fact that they would just throw out the retro player base, I guess shouldn't really be much of a surprise at this point with how dog water the company is. But also where people like Joshua Schmidt and others who shockingly have said that this isn't that big of a deal, which I was shocked to see that Josh said that. My mind was blown because he's usually a much smarter player than that. But I guess we all have bad takes, right? But one of the things that makes it so bothersome, and this is something that E3 Yu-Gi-Oh! Said in his video, is that you're playing a game where you've played the same format with the same card pool for years. You have perfected your deck based upon the mechanics of that format, based upon the card pool and how cards work, functionally work. Similar like Brain Control, where you're just changing how the card works functionally, where you can only pick something that can't be normal summon or set. You do everything you can to be the best player you can be in that format based upon the card pool and the game mechanics and priority and all that fun jazz. That, yes, on the surface, like I've seen some of y'all commenting, I see y'all with the comments you make about saying how priority is a cancerous thing, this should have never been a thing, and blah, 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 blah. And look, I get it from that point of view, whether you played in a time like your boy, who's played almost 20 years, or I guess did play now that I'm taking a break, but played during a time where priority existed and thought it was stupid. It is, right? Like, there's no way to sugarcoat priority. There are ways where you can skillfully use it, but at the same time, it is something that was a bit broken, that was something that needed to be fixed in the game. At the same time, there are people who like that mechanic and like it for what it did. Being able to summon a Black Luster Soldier even into a bottomless and being able to call priority to banish whatever, a fucking Spirit Reaper before the opponent can bottomless you, like, that was a great play. Like, yeah, it's a 1-for-1 trade and you're losing the BLS, but you didn't blow your normal summon. You got rid of the indestructible body. Now you can summon, I don't know, Breaker the Magical Warrior and attack for game. You know, like, there was interaction, for lack of a better term. Something that there's really not any of in today's day and age, even with 20 fucking hand traps in every deck. People enjoyed it for what it was. People liked it for the simpler time, for what it was. There are memories there. I talked about this in my Quitting Yu-Gi-Oh! After 20 years video, where, you know, being the last in the community, you know, you're not going to make the same memories today that you did back then, but nostalgia is a thing, and nostalgia can sell. And Konami is, clearly it's executives that never even played in the format or even know what they're doing, but they fundamentally changed these formats and just killed Time Wizard is what they did. I mean, let's call it for what it is. That now it's like, it's not the same game. It's not what you grew up on. It's not what you've been playtesting for. You know, like, what if you walked into a YCS and you didn't know going into it that they were going to allow one ban card in everybody's deck? Like, that would be insane. You'd be at a massive disadvantage. What was Konami expecting? For people to show up to Nats thinking there was going to be a massive Ultimate Time Wizard event and then get told, oh, hey, we're using current card text and current game mechanics. The fuck? I can't call priority on my Substitute and tribute a Treeborn Frog? No! Eat my ass! Like, no one wants that. And, like, it's a shame that this employee got suspended from organized play on top of that. That apparently, at least according to what they're saying, they got fired, or at least made it sound like it, and now you can't even go to locals. Like, you're just barred from playing the game. So that's why I made the comment of reaching out to this guy that, hey, and if you happen to see my video, Aviator Brian, hey man, would love to have you on for an interview if you actually worked for Konami, assuming you didn't sign any sort of NDAs. Would really love to pull the curtain back, because for years, no one has been able to pull the curtain back. I think Farfa did something where he interviewed a Konami employee years back, and like that was like the type of interaction we have with the community. But from Konami themselves, the last thing we ever got, besides actual ban list timings and things like at YCS, was like back in March 2012 when everybody was bitching about that ban list because it sucked. And then we had to deal with windups and injectors at full power for like 6.5 months or whatever it was. And Jerome actually came out and explained the ban list and why certain things were hit. So, guys, let me know what you think about all of this down in the comments below. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video.